Hey guys, welcome back to 44's channel. If you're new here, my name is Jess and I'm a life coach. I make videos on different topics within personal development. So 3 months ago, I was listening to a podcast on the subconscious mind, and in it the man mentioned the 12 laws of the universe. So this was really, I'd never heard of the 12 laws of the universe. I didn't even know it was a thing. The only one I knew about was the law of attraction. But I was really curious about these other laws, so I decided to start researching them. And then because I thought they were really interesting, I wanted to share it with other people. And hence why I started the series, The 12 Laws of the Universe. So it's so crazy because now we've hit the last law. So I've made 12 videos. Well, this is the 12th video. And yes, so today is going to be on the law of gender. If you haven't watched those other videos, there's a playlist on my channel called The 12 Laws of the Universe, so definitely go check that out. There is no particular order that you have to watch these videos in. I personally believe that you should just go with your gut and whatever you feel like watching, or even if you feel like maybe you don't feel like watching any of them, like cool, go with that. But yes, I think just whatever interests you is the thing that I would suggest you watch. So the law of gender refers to the two types of energies that we have in the world. So remember, through the other videos we've spoken about how everything's made up of energy and all this energy vibrates at a different frequency. So there's two types of energy, and the one energy is masculine energy and the other one is feminine energy. So everything that we see around us is made up of masculine and feminine energy. It's a mix. I think that's a very important thing to note, is that, so for example, when people hear about masculine and feminine, they think of, the usual genders that we hear about, or the different sexes, so male and female, that's what people think about. And then they could think that a man has masculine energy and a woman or a female has feminine energy. But that's not what it's about. Every single person in the world is a mixture of both masculine and feminine energies. I mean, everyone has both. One might be more dominant than the other, but it's important to note that it's a mix. Everything around us has both, and both of them are important, and they can really complement each other well. So it shouldn't necessarily be about choosing one over the other, but maybe balancing them and having a mixture of both. Okay, so let's jump into what masculine and feminine energy exactly is, because you may be wondering, what is that, Jess? So I don't know if you ever learnt about this thing called the left brain and the right brain. You may have even taken a test in the past to see what brain you are. And what that basically means is that a left-brained person is somebody who's more logical, analytical. They like numbers, they might like structure and doing things in a particular order, maybe doing things step by step and being very methodical. Whereas a right-brained person is someone who's more creative, go with the flow, might be associated with art, or might be an artist, just somebody who's very creatively expressive and may see things in a different way. So a right-brained person may see things in a different way to a left-brained person. They may see images, example, instead of words, or they may remember faces as opposed to names. So that's very closely linked, or basically the same as masculine and feminine energy. So masculine energy would be associated with the left brain, and then feminine energy would be associated with the right brain. So we can describe masculine energy with the following words. So logical, analytical, assertive. So an assertive person is somebody who, instead of being like, oh, I don't know what to do, they are self-assured and they know what to do. They can be aggressive at times, very strong, they have drive, they have will. So a will is when you know what you want and you have the desire and the drive to go do that. They can be very straightforward, objective. Subjective is more attached to facts as opposed to opinions. It can also come across as like cold or unemotional. And something that I think could describe it quite well is, example, if you have a building the masculine energy would be the structure of the building. So again, when I speak about masculine energy, I don't mean a male, even though in our society there does tend to be these standards that men are unemotional and can't express their emotions, and they have to be logical and numbers driven, and females have to be the opposite. And if you have like a male who's creatively expressive, like that doesn't necessarily go down well because it's against the norm. But these types of energies are in everyone. So you listening right now, you have both types of energy. So you can be assertive and logical and analytical. You may have drive, but then you could also have the feminine traits. So feminine energy is linked to creativity. So it's also linked to intuition. I'm busy reading off a piece of paper. They're very emotional. It links to imagination and being imaginative, empathy, nurturing, and then subjective. So we said masculine was objective, which is linked to facts. Subjective is more linked to people's experiences and people's points of views and that type of thing. And then I used the building, so the structure of the building could represent masculine, whereas with feminine, it could be, in my eyes, more the atmosphere of the building. So maybe the types of people who are in the building and what the culture's like and just how it feels. So that's how I would, or maybe even what the building looks like in terms of decoration. So that's how I would describe the difference. So masculine would be the structure of the building and where the different rooms are and where the door is, whereas feminine is more the vibe and what's filling up that building. So like I said, there does tend to be this misconception that men have to be strong and rational and assertive and aggressive and the protectors, and women have to be creative and intuitive, and women have to look after the children and bring up everyone and be warm, and men have to be the breadwinners and bring in the money. So some people have those beliefs and mindsets. So that we can see there's a difference in the two energies, but I think it's important to have a mixture of both. And you can decide how balanced you'd like to be. Maybe you would like to be more dominant in a particular thing, especially if maybe you work in an environment where it's required that you are more assertive or logical or analytical. It makes sense that you would be more dominant towards both. I mean, dominant towards masculine energy as opposed to feminine energy. Whereas if you're in art and you're an actor or anything like that in graphic design, maybe you need to be have more of the feminine energy. But I think it's very important to have both, because if, example, like we've seen, when people don't express their emotions and how they're feeling, that can all be pented up inside, and then later there's just a gigantic mess because they didn't get to speak about their problems properly. They just stuffed it down inside. So I think it's important in that respect to be open about your feelings with somebody that you trust, and to not hide your authentic self. I think emotions are just so normal and natural, and it seems quite unnatural to not talk about your emotions and to hide them or pretend to be something else, or maybe pretend to always be happy and strong when you're not necessarily feeling strong. I think it's important to tap into that feminine energy. And I also think that masculine and feminine energy can complement each other quite well, because they both have different roles. So example, even if you think of a creative person, so say me, example, okay, yeah, we'll just choose me and how I've made this content and all of that. So when I got the idea to do all of this, I was tapping into my feminine energy. So remember, feminine energy is linked to intuition and ideas and imagination. So the feminine energy is the idea. And then I had to use masculine energy in order to carry through on that idea. So remember, masculine energy is attached to drive and will and assertiveness and doing it, like planning and getting up and taking the video and posting it and putting myself out there. So I had to use both. Like if I'm just going to be in feminine energy, then I'm just going to live in this mental world imagining things, and you kind of need the masculine energy in order to bring it into physical existence. So that's why I think it's very important to have both, and they just complement each other really well. I think it can be really great to, instead of suppressing one side or the other, especially if society is like, men can't be emotional, they can't be creative, and women can't be logical and analytical. I think, I mean, obviously it might be difficult, but to try tap into those emotions that you may be suppressing, even if people are like, no, you can't be analytical, you can't be this, you can't be that. I think, like for me personally, if I suppress one side, I feel incomplete and unhappy. I like being able to tap into both and saying, I mean, I remember like with all these tests and that, these left and right brain tests, I would always I was balanced, and I was so confused because I feel like our society is like, you have to be one or the other. You have to be logical, or you have to have intuition. You have to remember names, or you have to remember faces. And I was like, I have both. And in a sense, I feel like society almost like chopped that balance out of me, because I was balanced, and then I was like, oh, like, should I choose the one over the other? And I was like, oh, maybe I'm like more right brain now, and like maybe, you know, like it constantly felt like I had to choose the one or the other. And now I realize that both of them are important and complement each other well, and it shouldn't be like, oh, I'm an analytical person, or I'm a creative person, or I'm a this type of person, or I'm a that type of person. Like, you can be both. You can be both passive and assertive. You can have ideas and you can act on that. You can go with your intuition and your heart, and you can also use your head and be logical. And it's just, I think, important to see what you need to do when the time is right. So whatever you feel is right to do should be the thing that you do. So thank you very much for watching this video. And this brings us to the end of the 12 laws of the universe. I really have enjoyed making these videos. Something with me is, I feel like, because I've done a lot of research and then I've made a video after I've done research on a particular topic, and it really has encouraged me to do the research. I feel like I'm better at doing research when afterwards I share it with people. So I personally have grown a lot and really learned a lot through all of this. It really has brought new perspective into my life. And just even thinking that we're all made of energy, and like my favorite video, or one of my most favorite videos I made, was the law of vibration, because it just really put things into perspective and helped me understand that we all are made up of vibration, and depending on the frequency of your vibration, that's what you're going to attract into your life. And yeah, like all of them have just been so interesting, and I'd never thought of some things before, and some things I had thought of before, but I didn't know that other people experienced it. So it's just like super great. Yeah, like on a personal note, it's been great learning about it. And also just being aware that your thoughts and your mind really can control your reality. And it's also just made me realize, like, even if you don't believe that thoughts become things, like I know in my personal life, when I've changed my thoughts, my attitude and my behavior has changed. Because if I'm not necessarily, if I have like a limiting belief that I can't do something, then I don't take the actions to do that thing at all. Like I just sit there and do absolutely nothing. But when I think, oh, actually maybe I can do this, then I take actions and take steps. And then once I'm doing those, or taking those steps and doing the action, I'm like, oh, okay, actually maybe I am able to do this. So I think really this type of mindset has helped me try, at least. And I think that's super great. I mean, it's better to actually get onto the racetrack than sit on the side, you know, like thinking you can't even participate when you really can. So thanks guys for watching. If you have been watching or following throughout the whole series, or you've gone back or whatever, I'd love to know what your favorite law is and what you've learned, or how this has shown up in your own life. I really enjoy reading people's comments and your comments. So yes, if you feel comfortable, definitely put down a comment below. And then please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. subscribe to the channel. You'll see at the bottom it says subscribe. Hit that bell if you want a notification, so that every time I post a new video you get a notification and you know that the notification comes to your phone, and then you can go straight onto the video. And then also share this with anyone you think would like maybe the law of gender or the series as a whole. Maybe you know someone who's very interested in this. So yes, definitely send it to anyone you think would like it and would benefit from this. So thank you guys for following along, and I'll see you next week with a new video. Bye guys!